Hey guys, Keys here back with another Bitcoin video. And I thought it'd be a good time to make another Bitcoin video because the markets have just been going absolutely crazy for quite a while, honestly. I mean, this move here from when we bottomed at 25K till now, we're up about 77%. We went up to 79 when we peaked. And it's only been 89 days. So just under 3 months that we've basically been up only and really not have had any like real significant pullbacks. And everyone is euphoric right now. I mean, when I look online and I just see a lot of people that just think we're just going to keep going up, and it makes you kind of worried a little bit because I mean, Bitcoin has kind of been up only. This is the daily candle. So every candle is one day, and just kind of look at this move we just recently put in. I mean, Bitcoin has absolutely gone on a rampage, and we're currently sitting at 44,100. Um, but you got to ask why, and the obvious reason and answer is because the ETF news. And, there is actually an ETF, supposedly it should be, with the people saying it's going to get approved, or just there's going to be some like news. I don't know if it's going to get delayed or if it's going to get approved, but the market is expecting something on January 5th through 10th, any one of these days. And that's just a month from now. It's December 8th, so it's literally 1 month from now that this ETF news is going to drop. And I actually think it's not going to be good for the markets when it does drop, but until it does drop, I don't see why Bitcoin can't continue rallying. So I don't know if we're going to get some sort of, major pullback. I still think that what would be healthy for the markets is if Bitcoin did kind of like come back down, maybe retest this area, and then we can continue going up. Because this is just really unhealthy in my opinion. Like the higher we go in a straight line, like even if we continue going up until January 8th, which is like right here until this day, I honestly think the higher we go, just the harder it's going to be when we come down. And it's going to be really, really bad. And you just have to look at Bitcoin's history to really see an example of this. It's 2017. So what happened in 2017, December 18th, 2017? CME Group, they launched Bitcoin futures. And so let's take a look at what happened December 18th of 2017. That's literally right here. It's this peak right here. And look at the move Bitcoin put in. Still, this is the daily candles. I mean, Bitcoin went on an absolute rampage in 2017, and the day that the futures were launched, it kicked off a huge bear market for Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin dropped 84% right after was announced. So what happened? I mean, honestly, what I think happened is that people just shorted the market. Like after this got launched, like people just shorted it, and Bitcoin just collapse all the way back down. And I mean, if Bitcoin has already done it with futures, I don't see, any reason why it can't do it again with this ETF news. So, maybe Bitcoin does just continue going on a rampage until January 8th or like January 5th through January 10th, any one of those days just kind of goes up still, kind of like how it did in 2017. And then it just completely collapses back down. I mean, we're still in the pre-halving year. We're not even in the bull market year, really. I mean, the bull market year really should be 2025. I mean, it should start in 2024, but that's just what I think. I mean, in my opinion, my plan really, I'm still holding Bitcoin that I've been holding for a while. And for me, I think I'm just going to really hold it until January, and then I'll probably sell. That's kind of the plan that I'm kind of thinking about doing so far. So I don't really know how it's going to play out. Like, if Bitcoin is going to get any pullback and then go up, or if we're just going to keep going up. Maybe it's like a sideways move. I mean, this wasn't exactly sideways. It was kind of some sort of ascending triangle, and you can see we broke up from it. So maybe Bitcoin kind of just can go anything. I mean, it doesn't have to go straight up. It can go sideways down. It can just go sideways, or it can do the same thing sideways up and then continue going up. So, I mean, Bitcoin still, for now, it's okay in my opinion. I mean, as long as we have this ETF hype, nobody really wants to sell their Bitcoin. I mean, I think the only people really selling their Bitcoin at this point are people who are just taking profits. Like, I mean, if you bought down here last year, I mean, this was a year ago, right? Like, this move right here, this period is 1 year ago from now. So just look at the amount of gain that you made if you bought it exactly a year ago. So there's nothing wrong with taking profits. In my opinion, most people who are selling are probably people who are taking profits. But I still think Bitcoin can just continue going up until this ETF news hits, and in my opinion, it's probably gonna be pretty bad. Cause you got to think about it. Like, everyone thinks that this ETF news, oh, a lot like institutions are gonna start buying and they're gonna pump our bags. Like, that's not how it works, right? Like, the super rich people aren't gonna come into the market to make us people like rich, right? What they're gonna do is come into the market to take our Bitcoin. And how do they do it? Well, they hype you up with all this news, and then when it actually finally like comes to fruition, they scare you out of it. And how do they scare you? They dump the price down. I mean, if you lived through here a year ago when we were back down at like 16K, I mean, there was a lot of fear in the market. Like, nobody really wanted to touch Bitcoin back here. Like, nobody wanted Bitcoin down here. Okay, and all the articles online, all what the banks were saying and everything, they were saying that Bitcoin is going down to 5K. So, I mean, you can even see here. We have, this is just one example. British multinational bank standard charter just said, so this was about 10 days ago, what they said, that Bitcoin's going to hit 100,000 next year. And exactly a year ago, this same bank, this was December 5th, 2022, to actually zoom it up, December 5th, 2022, Bitcoin could sink to 5K in 2023. So let's see where Bitcoin was December 5th of 2022. I mean, it was literally right here. It was this candle right here. Actually, zoom in a little bit more. It was right here. It was this candle right here. And we were currently sitting at 17K. And the banks and all like the big money, the smart people, according to, I don't even know like who it's according to, but like the people who actually have a lot of money, they were saying we're going to 5K when Bitcoin was, and look what happened to the market. I mean, if you got scared out of your Bitcoin right here, I mean, you got played. They played you. They did exactly what they wanted to do. You sold your Bitcoin to them down here. And now we're sitting up here. And what are they saying now? Now that we're at 44K, they're saying now that we're going to go to 100K. So it gets everyone, once again, it's deceptive, right? They're trying to make you think that we're going to go up, but what actually happens is we end up going down. So, I mean, I still think Bitcoin is okay. I think the risk is just way too high in my opinion. There's more risk. Like, it's more likely that Bitcoin, in my opinion, like gets a crash down than it does continuing this move up. I mean, I still think Bitcoin can go up until January, and like I said, that's kind of the plan I'm gonna go. Is just kind of wait and see where we are in January, and then I'll like make my decision on what I'll do with my Bitcoin. But I mean, I think we're in a really like kind of a scary situation. I mean, look at the area we're in. I've already like boxed it out for you, but Bitcoin has had some major reversals in this area. And we've kind of just gone up, like I said, with no pullback at all. And if we do get a pullback before January, like a really big one, like, at least like 20%, like somewhere into this area down here, or maybe even coming all the way back down to 30K, that for me would be fine. Like, if we did get something like that, then in my opinion, like Bitcoin can continue going up, and I won't think that like in January we have to have a huge crash or anything. But in my opinion, like this to me is a bit unhealthy. It's kind of risky in my opinion to be buying Bitcoin up here, even though, like I said, I think we could still kind of continue going up. But I mean, if I'm being completely honest, like you missed the move if you're like thinking about buying it now. I mean, just look at all year. This was literally we started the year right here. This was January 1st. You could have bought it at any other point in this year and you would have been in pretty good profit. And so for me, it's a bit risky. I just wanted to say that about like the ETF news, because this market, everyone is like euphoric right now. On Twitter, on YouTube, a lot of people are saying we're just going to go up. If you take a look at the Fear and Greed Index, we've been in greed for a while. I mean, for the past 3 months, I mean, we came up to the 70s in the Fear and Greed Index in October 25th. So it's been like a month and a half that we've been in like greed. The thing is, like, we can be in greed for a while, but I just think that this move right now for me it's still like dangerous. It's kind of a dangerous game to be playing if you're thinking about getting in now. But yeah, so that's really what I wanted to say with Bitcoin. I guess it's kind of a negative video. And I guess that kind of goes against everyone else, which I think is a good thing. Like, you don't really want to be saying the same things that everyone is saying because the majority is usually wrong, right? I mean, the markets usually do the opposite of what the majority thinks. And I think right now the majority thinks that we're just going to keep going up. And I mean, I could see honestly Bitcoin going as high as like even into the 50s, maybe even what I think would be really interesting is if Bitcoin came to these peaks right here. You can kind of see, we had double like tops here that we reversed off of. It kind of held as support up here back in 2021. And another thing about like this area is that it's like in the low 50s, and that's like a huge number. If Bitcoin's back at 50K, I mean, it's a psychological thing, right? Like the 5 in front, like just having a 5 in the front of the number for Bitcoin is huge. We were just at 20 some K. We were just at like 26. Like, it doesn't even feel like it was that long ago when we were like at 25, 26K, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin's at 50. That would be crazy. And, if we did come to 50K, I'm not going to lie, I'd probably sell my Bitcoin at that point. I think we'd be way too overextended, and we'd definitely be due for a pullback. But yeah, so I kind of just want to make this video pretty short. Not that short, it's like 11 minutes, and it was kind of negative, but I just wanted to be a little bit more realistic about all this hype. And there's nothing wrong with it being hype and everything, but I just think you need to be careful right now in the markets. It's kind of dangerous in my opinion. I mean, I think we could still go up, but really, like, maybe we do even go to 50K. That's like a 16% move, but then what are you risking? Like, what if we come all the way back down to 30K? That's not exactly the type of move you want, right? So if we actually drew this out with the long, you can see that if we were targeting somewhere like 52 and then going down to like 30K, it's a terrible ratio, 0.57. Like, the risk to reward, in my opinion, right now is just way too heavily sided towards the downside, and it's just something to be thinking about. I mean, yeah, so I just wanted to, like, kind of have a more realistic view on what I think the markets can do based off of what happened in history, based off the fact that institutions do not come into this market to make the average person rich. That's not the point. That's not why they come in here. And all these articles saying Bitcoin's going to 100K or whatever is the same as when all the articles down here were saying that Bitcoin's going to 5K. And the exact opposite happened, so yeah, guys, that's the Bitcoin video. I'll probably make a video on an altcoin or two, probably Veracity, in my next video. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.